What is the worst case of scamming you've ever seen? Well, let me tell you. I used to work at a pretty well-known company as a night shift supervisor back in 2014. My main responsibility was to oversee the online auction platform for our clients. It was my job to watch the auctions like a hawk and be ready to intervene if someone tried to scam or hack into anyone's account while they were bidding on items. We had just finished processing a huge insurance claim for one of our clients, a famous celebrity. He was insured for $10 million, and we were able to successfully auction off his classic car collection to help with the claim. The site was down for a few hours while we transferred over 600 lots from his collection into our system. When it went live again, people started bidding immediately, and it was exciting to watch the bids roll in. A few days later, the client received his check from us, and he was very happy with the outcome. It was around 3 a.m. when I got the call. The client's called to say that he just got a call from someone at the company who said that they were taking over his account because he had UNT paid for his lots yet. The client was confused because he'd already paid for the lots and hung up the phone. I immediately went to his account and saw that the person who made the winning bid was listed as the new account owner. I checked the account and saw that the address was in Nigeria. I called the client back and explained what happened. He was furious and demanded that we fix this right away. My boss was too concerned because it was only an account, and we could easily change the name on file. But the client kept calling, so my boss finally decided to call him back. After talking to the client for a bit, my boss came back to me and said that I needed to fly out to LA tomorrow to meet with the client. I thought this was ridiculous, because I wasn't even on shift when this happened, and it was late at night. So I called my boss and asked why I had to go. She said that she couldn't go because she was in Florida and no one else knew how to access the account. When I arrived at the client's house in LA, he was livid and demanded that I give him his account back immediately. I told him that I didn't have the authority to do that, and that I would have to contact our IT department. He started yelling at me, and that's when his wife walked in. She was a famous actress, and she told her husband to calm down and that I was trying to help. She then asked me to follow her into the kitchen while her husband got on the phone with someone. I explained to her what happened, and she thanked me for coming out so quickly to help. She then said, "Don't worry about it. I'll talk to my husband and get him to calm down." And that's exactly what she did. She got him to calm down and apologize to me. After that, we all sat down and watched the football game until my flight back home was ready. I still had to work the next day, but my boss wasn't there. It was the client who called in to ask what my IT guy found out about the hacked account. I put my boss on speakerphone, and she immediately started berating me for not having the account fixed yet. She then told the client that she would personally look into it and have someone get back to him in the morning. I never heard anything about it again until 2 weeks later, when I got called into my boss's office. She was on the phone with the client, and I could hear him yelling in the background. She hung up the phone and fired me on the spot. When I asked why, she said that I was unthinking with my head or my heart, and that I should have fixed the problem myself instead of waiting for the IT department. I told her that I was following protocol and that I didn't have the authority to change the account name. She didn't care, and she continued to yell at me, so I just walked out. I called the client and told him what happened. He was furious and demanded that I be rehired immediately. He then proceeded to tell me all about how much he hated my boss and how she always tried to take credit for everything he did. He said that he would call the CEO himself and make sure I was rehired. But I told him that I did not want to work for a company that treated their employees like that. He understood and apologized for what happened. He said that he would make sure that my boss got fired for how she treated me. And true to his word, I got a call a few days later telling me that the CEO had heard about what happened and he wanted me to come back to work. But by that time, I had already found another job with better pay and benefits, so I politely declined the offer. They all got what they deserved. I want to tell you a horror story about a scammer that happened to me. I was living in a small village in Thailand and making money mainly from an online business selling clothes. I had just got back from a trip to LA, and for some reason, probably because of jet lag, I was wide awake at 4 a.m. and was scrolling through Instagram. I came across this influencer that I used to follow years ago, before I stopped using social media. She was in Thailand, and I hadn't seen her in ages. I commented on her post saying, "Hey, I haven't seen you in forever. How have you been?" And she replied to my comment with a direct message. She said, "Hey, it's so good to hear from you. How are you? I'm in Thailand right now, and I'm going to be here for another week. I'd love to catch up if you're around." Now, this was all very strange to me, because I knew she lived in California, and the last time we spoke, which was probably 4 or 5 years ago, she was pregnant with her second child. So I found it very bizarre that she was in Thailand. But anyway, I thought, hey, if she's in Thailand, let's meet up. So I suggested we go to this vegan restaurant that I frequented. We made plans for the next day, and I was really looking forward to seeing her. The next morning, I wake up bright and early, take a shower, get dressed, put on a little bit of makeup, do my hair, the whole 9 yards. I go to the bathroom to check myself out. I was like, damn, I look good. So I leave the house, walk 10 minutes to the vegan restaurant, and sit down. I order a coffee and wait for my friend. Now, I'm sitting there for 20 minutes and she's 10 minutes late, which is fine. Then I start getting a bit uneasy, because usually when people say they re-gone, nah, I'll be somewhere on time, they show up on time, or at least within 15 minutes. This was 30 minutes now, and I still hadn't seen her. I checked my phone and I saw that she had sent me a message saying she was running late and would be there soon. At this point, I was starting to get a bit irritated, because I had taken time out of my day to meet up with her and I had no idea where she was. I decided to give her a call. Her phone went straight to voicemail. I was pissed. I got up, walked out of the restaurant, and started walking back home. As I'm walking, I start thinking to myself, what if she stood me up on purpose? What if she never had any intention of meeting up with me? What if she only wanted to get a rise out of me by getting me all dressed up and then not showing up? These thoughts were swirling around my head and I was starting to feel really upset. I got back to my apartment, sat down on the couch and opened up Instagram. I went to her profile and I noticed that she had posted a story. The story was a video of her and her friends dancing at a club, and it was clear that she was completely drunk. I was furious. I felt like she had wasted my time, and I couldn't believe that she had the audacity to post a story of her dancing at a club, when she had led me on and stood me up. In that moment, I felt humiliated and angry. It was one of the most upsetting experiences I had ever had with a supposed friend. The fact that she had intentionally tried to hurt me by playing with my emotions, and then posted a video of her having fun at a club was a clear sign of her immaturity and lack of respect for others. I couldn't understand why she would do this to someone who had been nothing but nice to her. So yeah, that was a crazy experience that I had with a scammer. To this day, I still don't know her intentions. Was she trying to catfish me? Did she want my money? Or did she just want to waste my time? I get hundreds of scam emails every day. Most of them are pretty easy to spot, but once in a while I get one that's really creative or interesting. And this is the story of one of those. So I got this email from someone named Steve. Now it's actually an information request, not a scam, but what makes it interesting is that he was requesting information on how to scam me. So I decided to play along. He starts off by saying, "My name is Steve, and I am an independent ethical hacker." Well, that sounds boring, he continues. "I have been following your work for quite some time. I am very interested in your opinion on the security of our website." Wait, what? Since when did I start working on a website? I have no idea what he's talking about. Then he drops the truth bomb. My employer is planning on hiring a web development company to redesign and redevelop our website. However, before we take this step, they want to hire ethical hackers like myself to test the security of the current website to see if there are any exploitable vulnerabilities. Now it all makes sense. He's trying to see if I'll fall for a phishing attack. I play along and ask him to send more information about the project. In his reply, Steve explains the project in more detail. Apparently, they're looking for someone who can find SQL injection, vulnerabilities, and other exploits on their website. If I can find any, they'll pay me $500. And if I can't, they'll still pay me $250 for my time. Not a bad gig. I tell him I am interested and ask him to send me the website's login credentials so I can start working. And this is where things start getting weird. Instead of sending me the login details, Steve sends me this link to a Google Drive folder with 2 files in it. One is a PDF copy of what appears to be a legitimate contract between a cybersecurity company and another company. The other is a zip file containing a copy of the target company SSL certificate and some other technical files. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would a scammer send me a copy of their SSL certificate? Wouldn't it be easier just to steal my information and run away? Well, yes. But think about how much more convincing it would be if I had their SSL certificate during the phishing attack. It would be much easier to trick people into trusting me if I could show them that I have a legitimate SSL certificate. But this is where the story takes a turn. In the contract, the company agreed to pay $3,000 if the ethical hacker finds a vulnerability. This sounds reasonable, but the catch is that the company only has to pay up if the vulnerability allows for SQL injection. That means that if I find any other type of vulnerability, I won't get paid anything. This is probably why Steve only wanted me to look for SQL injections in the first place. The problem is that this isn't a very valuable website. I found a few minor issues, but nothing that would allow for an SQL injection. To make things worse, I was starting to feel bad for the people at the company. They were probably trying to do the right thing by hiring an ethical hacker, but their management team convinced them that they could save money by paying less to the ethical hacker. I ended up telling Steve that I couldn't find any SQL injection vulnerabilities, but I did find a few X's of vulnerabilities. Do you know what happened next? He completely ghosted me. I didn't even get the $250 that he promised for my time. In the end, I might have been the one getting scammed here. I wasted my time finding vulnerabilities on their website, but maybe I was able to save the company from being hacked. Either way, it was a fun little story.